everybody. Welcome to the newest episode of Snap Decisions. I am your host with the most, your Snap DJ, and I have a returning guest. You might be my most return guest, actually. It is Lauren Whatevs. What's up, Lauren? How are you? We just saw my brand new intro. Many thanks to my co-host Jeff from my other podcast that I do. He made that for me, and I absolutely love it. And of course, thanks to Elevate the Sky as well, Scott. Shout out to you, of course, letting me use that amazing song that he does, but it is now on YouTube as well. So, Lauren, it's great to see you again. We have a lot of stuff to talk about on this show today. I think you're muted, Lauren.
I sure am.
There you go.
And my dog's barking at the same time. We're off to a great start. That intro was so fun.
He does amazing work.
I listen to podcasts at I'm one of those 1.9 times speed listeners. And so whenever I listen to a theme song on 1 time speed, I'm like, oh, this is like a slow jam remix. This is fun. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, I just usually listen to it way faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a ton to cover today, and I am excited about that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so much to cover. Obviously, we have alliances coming out today, but we also got we have the patch that is out. The OTA, of course, that comes out today has been released. We have DATAMINES to talk about, so very, very excited. Way to start out the show. So, of course, those of you listening and watching, this will be out in, a little bit later on, but you will see it earlier this afternoon. So, yeah, a lot going on in Snap. I mean, plus we're going to talk about Deadpools Diner with Lauren. Obviously, Lauren did a big presentation on that. If you're still having troubles and if you haven't completed it yet, it's a good thing to check this out because there can be a lot of slides and stuff in here that she sent over, and just a lot of tips and tricks on how to finish that if you're having some problems. And obviously we'll talk about that, the goods, the bads, and if there was any uglies with it too, we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, I guess we'll start off with, as I do with many of my shows, whenever there is something, and we'll start off with breaking news. And obviously, the breaking news is all of this patch stuff. So we have the patches out, the DATAMINES are out, and we know the patch is out, but I think we're going to start with these DATAMINES, Lauren, because they're exciting, especially for a certain archetype of players that are out there. So let's look at what we've got here. And this is obviously October, so this is Halloween month. We did get a little bit of a sneak peek into some of the art for these, but this is the Venom and Carnage series. And I was talking about this on another show when we first saw these, and you had mentioned too that, maybe this is going to be a Destroy month, and it certainly looks like it is.
Yeah, and I think you and I have both seen Misery, just because it's the leading image on the mines that we're looking at, but all the other ones we're going to be looking at for the first time.
Yes,
get our fresh reactions. But yeah, at least Misery. Looks like a destroy card, like the other symbiotes already in the game.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Misery is a 5/10. So pretty big stat line there. On reveal, destroy your other on reveal cards here to trigger their abilities. Destroy. Wow. Okay. I mean,
trigger Venom, you get to keep all the power.
Yeah, you do. That's insane. Holy man. Destroy players are going to be rejoicing with this if this is all destroy stuff. Misery, obviously another symbiote. I think relation more to Carnage, if I remember correctly from the comics. But oh man, a 5/10 is it's a pretty powerful card, and that is a really powerful on reveal. Again, it's destroy your other on reveal cards here to trigger their ability. So another way to have, like Lauren just said, to use your Venom, your Carnage, all that stuff. Man, this is a crazy start.
This is almost good enough. I think you could play it outside of Destroy.
Yeah.
If you're re-triggering little 1 costs, on reveals on cards that don't have very high power, she's a 5/10.
Yes.
If she's a discounted Odin, I don't This is very interesting.
Yeah, it is that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's one thing we don't see, right? Is like destroy cards that are out there that are in that deck are pretty static, and you don't really ever see them now. Carnage is kind of being used a little bit, right? Because
like anti-clog.
yeah, anti-clog, anti-junk. But other than that, you don't see these cards being used much outside of that deck. So that's interesting. Like you said, that it is something that you could just use in an on reveal deck, you know, to re-trigger on reveal. So yeah, very, very interesting start here. So so there you go. So that's Misery. We're going to go over to the right here and see the next one. This is Scorn. Scorn is a 1/2. When you discard this and its power, add its power to one of your cards, return this to your hand with +1 power. So this is a discard card for the deck. 1/2. When you discard this, add its power to one of your cards, return this to hand with +1 power. Wow. Okay. So it gives its power to one of your cards. So it's going to give 2 to one of your cards, and then you return it with +1 power. So then it's a 1/3. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, if you can, it's kind of like a swarm that plays itself.
Yeah.
If you get swarm once or twice, swarm's bigger. But if you can get her discarded a bunch of times, she could be adding tons of power.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just keeps adding up and adding up. I mean, this could work in regular static discard. This could work in Hella, I would imagine too, right?
Gambit shotgun.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. So maybe not all destroy like we were assuming. Maybe it's going to be other types too as well. Maybe something for each one. But yeah. So Scorn again, a 1/2. When you discard this, add its power to one of your cards. Return this to hand with +1 power. Now remember, these can always be changed. They're data mine cards. They can always, you know, mess around with them and change them ahead of time. But this is what we're seeing first. All right. So we'll move to our next one. This is Toxin. Toxin is a 3/2. So not a great stat line there, but on reveal, return your other cards here to your hand. +2 power for each return.
A bounce card.
Interesting. Okay. And again, I mean, does he help destroy? I would guess yes, because if there are other cards, you know, on the board, you know, your Deadpool obviously gets another way to return to your hand. Well, he would go to your hand anyway. I don't know. What are you thinking about this one? Where would you see this?
Doesn't feel like a destroy card. This
no,
feels
it doesn't.
Okay, so when you're playing Bounce and you have Beast and Falcon,
yes,
Falcon is kind of like the backup plan to your backup plan.
That's true.
He's okay, but he is just not on the same level as Beast. I wonder if this replaces Falcon in many, but not all Bounce decks.
Yeah.
Just because it's so much more power.
Yeah. Yeah. Return your other cards here to your hand, +2 for each return. Yeah. Yeah. You might be right. I mean, if he bounces 3 cards back, he's good 2, 4, 6. He's going to be a 3/8. So yeah, you might be right. It could.
Interestingly, he also lets you bounce Beast, which Falcon doesn't let you do.
Oh yeah.
And I have had times when I'm playing Bounce and I use the Nico clone spell to get 2 beasts, and they can just keep bouncing each other. That's ridiculous.
There he is, by the way. You may not see it well through the blue screen, but
you can see the character though.
Yeah, there he is.
The art on these is so good.
Yeah, let me go back and I can show the other ones. Here's Scorn.
She looks super cool. Like
she really does.
Techie.
The base art is getting better. You're right. Like they're really like. And then here is Misery. Misery looks awesome with the tendrils there.
It's kind of funny seeing a symbiote with hair,
right? Yeah. Nice long red hair, mind you. Yeah. All right. So that is Toxin, and then the last one we have is Scream. Scream is a 2/1. When an enemy card moves, drain 2 power from it once per turn. So these are not all destroy. It's 1 destroy. These are for each set, really, it seems like. Like we were just talking Bounce. This one obviously is a move card. So it looks like they're and no activates. So I'm kind of surprised.
We have 2 more. If you look in the
okay,
of the tweet, there's 2 more.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I see them down below. All right, so we have Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom, of course, is this from the comics was when oh man, when Eddie Brock something happened to him to make him good. He basically turned into a good Venom where he heals things. So that's what Anti-Venom is. But there he is. He's a 4/6. On reveal, set the cost and power of your deck's top card to 0.
So funky.
Yeah,
Obviously a Luke Cage synergy there.
Okay. Yeah. Set the cost and power. Yeah, I mean you would kind of have to, because why would you want a card set at 0/0? I mean, obviously 0 cost is great.
0 cost is huge.
Would have to be something that would gain power, right? Like something that you can gain power with, or like you said, Luke Cage synergy.
Luke Cage or Shadow King.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so there's Anti-Venom, and again, just all I like this because it's not what I've expected. This is all just different stuff. It synergizes with different stuff. And then I'm excited for this one. I love Agent Venom. This is, of course, Flash Thompson's Venom when he took over the symbiote. Agent Venom is a 2/4. There he is right there. Set the power of cards in your deck to 4.
What weird card. Fast for your deck, a C4 card.
What? Oh my god. Yeah, that's crazy.
Imagine playing 5/4 Iron Man.
5. Oh my god, that's just disgusting. That at its cost is yeah, that's probably a broken. I don't know. You always see one of these and you think, yeah, that's not going to release that way. But yeah, you're like, yeah, I mean, just imagine the possibilities. There's no, like, what deck wouldn't want most of your cards unless you're playing with just a ton of huge cards set to 4? Like, that's insane. Wow.
And you could pair them with Luke Cage, and then you don't care.
Yeah, it's yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's not what I expected at all. I really
Very
thought,
strange card.
Yeah, I really thought that this was going to be an all destroy set. It started off that way, but yeah, it is. This just seems like a card for every deck type that's out there. Discard, destroy, bounce, as you mentioned.
A great bounce card.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a move card as well. And then
Agent Venom is a good bounce card.
Agent Venom is looks like they want to bring bounce back. And it's funny because they were just making note about that and saying that they don't want to make that too strong because they remember how many players complained about bounce when it was too strong because it's hard to get rid of at the end of the game.
Yeah,
so
bounce and move are both challenging when they're too strong because they're really hard for people to read.
Yeah.
And so they make the game a lot more brain burny.
Yes. I remember when people were doing the hide the Killmonger thing just to get rid of bounce, just to try to combat bounce. So yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting looking month. Halloween month is always fun. And I remember last year was when we got Man-Thing, Werewolf, and stuff like that for Halloween. So it doesn't surprise me they're going with symbiotes for Halloween because obviously these were all kind of like scary type creatures and stuff that they could use. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Destroy players are going to be thrilled with that misery card, I'm sure. Scorn is interesting, like we already mentioned, in a few different deck types. Which one? So if you had to pick one, which one are you most excited about?
Only one.
I know.
I think it's Anti-Venom.
Okay.
I don't really play Destroy or Discard that much, although Misery is interesting enough. Might play her outside of Destroy just to get those repeat on reveals.
You could play her in another one, yeah, absolutely.
Anti-Venom feels the most like a Lauren card, a 0/0 Valkyrie, Chef's Kiss.
Yeah, right. That's true. You are a big Valkyrie player. That's true. Yeah, that's
0/0 Cersei. That's an excellent card.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like all the cards with like on reveals and stuff. Obviously, cards that you need power for. This isn't going to help you out, but anything that you need to just use without having a cost is crazy. And you're not worried about the cost of the card. So yeah, absolutely crazy card. Yeah.
Right.
And then Agent Venom looks insane too with the set everything to 4. Oh,
that's almost a new deck type.
It really is.
Something's going to come out of that. Like C4 has, obviously people build Cerebro decks of every power, but C4 has never been as real as 2, 3, and 5.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
And I think this goes a very long way towards making C4 real, but it must have other uses too, because I don't think you can sell a card that's a C4 card, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, C4 is definitely not maybe that attractive to people, but yeah, it's kind of cool because I think people are going to find a lot of things to do with a lot of these cards too. Like you were saying, the destroy card, yes, will go in destroy, but as you said, it'll work outside of destroy as well, just in on reveal decks that people just want to use on reveals again. So, and it's neat because sometimes we get stuck. Meta right now, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit later after the diner and stuff. But the meta right now is like, it's okay, but it's a little stale. You're getting the Darkhawk decks everywhere. Everybody's playing kind of similar stuff. And to get rid of Arishem, obviously now everybody's playing Cassandra Nova in their Darkhawk decks and things like that. So it is a little bit. I like to see like a change up. And get these different cards. Oh, I have to show you this too. Someone just shared this with me. Oh my God.
Oh, a new Galactus.
A new Galactus. It's insane.
Is it venomized? I can't.
It could be. Like, it's hard.
I mean, I'm seeing it on a tiny thumbnail on the screen.
It could very well be because he's got like all kind of black like tendrils and stuff around his head and everything like that. It could very well be. He's holding a death's head skeleton too, like in the middle. So
it's very cool looking.
Oh my God, dude. Oh man. Well, I'm gonna have to get that one.
Save your keys.
Right. Wow, this is awesome. So I guess we should go over the patch notes here as well, because we did get the OTA came out also. This is on their Discord now as well. Obviously, alliances are out today. They will start today, so everybody that is interested in joining an alliance are able to do so today. But let's go over. Let me see here. Where are the card changes that I'm not seeing, obviously, right now?
It's in game news on the official Discord.
There we are. Table stakes rewards. Oh, I went up too high. That's why. Patch notes. Here we go. Alliances, Deadpool League, gameplay, balance updates. Okay, so let's go over the balance updates since they are here as well. So this is released. I guess this is it out now? I would imagine it is. Yeah,
it's out. Okay. Can we talk about Deadpool League? There's not much to say except that the very first league, besides the test run that they did in Europe, this is the first league that's available to everybody, and there's no premium tier.
Oh, nice. Okay.
They are going to be doing premium tiers in the future, but this time it's free for everybody.
Nice. Okay, yeah. August 8th to 10th, the global launch for our first league event. Leagues are limited time events where you'll be matched into groups of 30 similar players to compete on a short-term leaderboard for prizes. Players will join a standard league with no cost of entry. There will be no premium league for this iteration of Deadpool League. During the event, just play games as normal, and your league points will adjust based on your game outcomes. More cubes means more points. At the end of the league, everyone gets rewards, but the top spots on the leaderboard will receive the best rewards. So awesome. So and then the game. There's this.
This is an interesting change.
The free credits. Yeah, the gameplay. The free credits offering in the shop is increasing to 75 credits per day in 25 credit increments, refreshing every 8 hours. Wow. Okay.
I kind of hope this is paving the way for the shop refreshing every 8 hours. Because if you're looking for a specific variant, the shop is miserable, especially if that variant doesn't exist in an album.
Yeah,
I've been looking for Baby Valk. I'm not going to use her. I just really like Valkyrie. I've been looking for Baby Valk since like December, January, and she's never been in my shop.
Yeah.
That's 7 months. That's too long.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And listen, there's some people are saving up for these albums and stuff, right? So a lot of times if you're short like a card or two, I know I'm sitting on like 3 albums I'm short 1 card for, and I haven't seen them in forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great point. I mean, now the shop will refresh. It'll be 3 times a day. instead of just the what is it? Just 2 now, right? 2 times
Well,
in one day.
they're not
Yeah.
saying the variants will right now. Variants just refresh once a day.
Okay. Yeah. So they're
The
just basically
avatars
saying
and emotes refresh every 8 hours, but the shop is every 24. And I'm wondering if this, where the credits are refreshing every 8 hours, if that's setting up for the shop to refresh every 8 hours.
That'd
in
be
the
nice.
Future.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I'm sure I've heard other people say, "Oh my gosh, there's this one variant I need. I can never get it," and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be great if they did that. I'd be down with that. So that's awesome. So the free credits are going up, so that's a good thing. Anything free is good. Visual effects and stuff is just Moon Knight to complement his updated abilities. Spoiler alert. All right, so let's go over the balance changes. First, we have. I think it's about time for this one. So many people have asked for this. UATU, the Watcher himself, 1-2 to 1-2, same thing. His abilities changing at the start of the game shows unrevealed locations. So they're going back to him showing everything, all of the unrevealed locations to you instead of just only showing one. We were reluctant to limit UATU's vision when we first changed the effect to work from the deck, but it felt needlessly risky to remove a lot of the tension and mystery from locations for players earning UATU early on. However, we've grown comfortable with the idea and hope fans enjoy watching the whole field on turn 1 in the future. So that's okay. I mean, listen, the card doesn't see any play. He's a pretty cool character. He's always been in comics and stuff like that, kind of watching over everything in the Marvel Universe. We've seen him in movies. We've seen him hanging around with Stan Lee, which is pretty amazing. So what do you think of UATU? Here's the thing. Does it make it playable? Probably not.
Probably not. It is the best he's ever been.
Yeah.
He was he was originally a 1-2, but you had to have him in hand to see both locations. And then they changed him to 1-1, but he didn't have to be in your hand, but he only showed the right location. So now and then 1-2. So this is the best he's ever been. This is like peak UATU. He doesn't have to be in your hand. He shows you both locations, and he's a 1-2. He's he's playable, but he's not going to be in anything meta.
I mean, knowing locations is a strong thing, but I don't know if you waste a card on that. Like if they increased his power a little bit, like made him a 1, I don't know, make him a 1-4 or a 1.
Even 1-3, he would probably. That's probably high enough to be a meta card.
Right. A 1-2 is like, man, I don't know if that benefits enough to want to play him. I mean, you know, again, he's great when you know a location's going to be shown that's going to lock people out, because obviously you could play on that location early and then they wouldn't have cards there maybe necessarily. But even in like recent games, and I don't know if you've seen this too, I've seen a lot more. It used to always be where a player would always tend to always start on the left location. I've seen that less and less now. I've seen people putting stuff in the right. I've seen people putting stuff in the center. So it doesn't happen as much as it used to, where people are just trying to maybe even thinking they're getting an advantage over there by doing that. And then if that pops up, sure, you're taking a risk, because if something pops up there that's bad, you're gonna get hit with like negative power.
UATU stops you from playing in Bar with No Name.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we're both in agreement there. I doubt he gets a lot of play either way. I don't know. Maybe people will start to play him in. I can't even think of a deck type. Zoo?
He's a hot location card.
Yeah. Would he be worth putting in a zoo deck? I mean,
maybe
he'd get bonuses from Khazar and from Blue Marvel and stuff. I don't know. I still think, like I said, the power is kind of garbage.
Yeah, so, he's niche.
Yeah, I agree. Next up is the spoiler they referred to. This is Moon Knight, and a lot of people have been kind of clamoring for something for him too. He's a cool character, and a lot of people love the show, obviously. So his card is old was 3/3 unrevealed. Discards a card from each player's hand, and now he is a 3/3 unrevealed. Discard a card with an even cost from each player's hand. So he's not just doing a random card. It's an even cost card. And what they said here is Moon Knight's a great character, but has struggled to find a good home even when discard is popular. We've kept improve Moon Knight on the whiteboard for a while. And today we're crossing that off. We did debate redesigning the card, but we've also heard your feedback when we do that in a way that fundamentally changes the card for fans it already has, as we did with Adam Warlock. Well, yeah, this tweak aims to make the card a more suitable pairing with Stature, one of the most popular ways to play Moon Knight already, as well as Swarm and Apocalypse. It may also make Moon Knight a useful threat against decks that rely on a single 6-cost threat like Red Hulk. Okay. I mean, a single 6-cost threat. So if they have, if you're playing with, if you're playing with 1 6-card really in your deck, and it's Red Hulk, like some of these Darkhawk decks now are playing with Red Hulk as the big one, like junk decks. Some of them are using Red Hulk in there as the big card. This is very bad against Galactus decks, by the way. Because Galactus is usually the only 6-cost card in the deck. But I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, I guess
I really like what they said about trying to rework a card to make it stronger without fundamentally changing its identity.
Yeah.
And I think they've achieved that.
Yeah.
Moon Knight is going to be good in the kind of decks he was already good in. He hits Swarm, whether it's a 2 or a 0.
Yep.
He hits Apocalypse. He hits what's her name? Proxima.
Yep. Proxima.
So he hits cards you want to hit. He also hits Morbius. And he dodges Stature and MODOK. So
yeah.
It's going to be good for the discard deck.
Apocalypse is even, right? Yeah, he's a 6-cost, so it would hit him as well. Yeah. Targeted for yourself. I think you're right. I think targeted for yourself playing discard, it's much better. I don't know that it necessarily does much against your opponent. Like people were using him in mill for a little while, which I don't think worked out. The deck wasn't as good of a mill deck as the other one is, but people were using him in mill. And I don't know that it necessarily, I guess it would work okay there because you are getting, if they have a 6-cost card in their deck, you're going to pull that 6-cost card more than likely if he's played on turn 3 or turn 4. I don't know. I guess you're right. I mean, it is good for everything you named. That it would. I mean, do you think it's good enough to make the static discard list? Like the ones that have, I don't even know, like the ones that would have Helicarrier, or even the ones that would have just Swarm and Apocalypse.
Yeah, I think it's good enough for Collector and Apocalypse discard.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I like it. I like the change. He has so many cool variants too. Mm-hmm. So many cool,
super
variants.
Cool character.
Yeah, very cool. I agree. We have Shadow King. No text change. Setting no longer considered raising or lowering power. So the interaction of Luke Cage stopping Shadow King and various other corner cases, which result in Shadow King adding negative or positive modifier, have proven confusing. We've decided to adjust Shadow King because this effect specifically feels like it should be cleansing modifiers, not adding more to counterbalance what's already there. We're keeping this distinct from Valkyrie because that effect does specifically add a modifier to other cards and feels like fair game for Luke Cage to prevent it. So basically, Luke Cage doesn't prevent Shadow King now. Is that what they're saying?
That's their long way of saying that. So when you look at a card, like you expand it and you can see all the adjustments to the power that it's had?
Yeah.
Shadow King used to just add a new adjustment that was equal to base cost. Now Shadow King goes in and wipes out all the adjustments.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
So there are no positive increases for Luke Cage to cancel anymore.
Okay.
They all just get removed.
Just everything is taken. Okay. Gotcha. All right. So just a little change there. And we've got next we've got a season pass card. Blink is actually here. Old is 5/7 on reveal. Swap the last card you played with a higher cost card from your deck. It is now swap the last card you played with a card that costs more from your deck. We've made 2 changes to Blink. The first is functional. We've adjusted the ability to check the cards in your deck based on what they currently cost, not their original cost. This means that you'll see cards the same way that Jane Foster sees them, It's not an inconsistency that came up much in gameplay, but it didn't make sense that Jane and Blink could both grab a negative Iron Man that's 0-5. However, like all cards already do, Blink will still care about the original cost of the card in play to determine the one from the deck.
I don't know if this is a buff or a nerf, but it is interesting that she can look at the adjusted cost now.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of things that adjust cost in deck. It's like Mr. Negative and Pixie, and I think that's it.
Yeah. I'm actually glad you're here for all these math things, because my mind would be like boggled. I'm like,
I appreciate how they do these write-ups, but they're definitely like
they're confusing.
They're pretty technical.
They are.
I think they would benefit from somebody to put them into like layman's terms,
or even like an example. Like I know sometimes they give card examples of gameplay and stuff like that. Even if they do like a little quick like. For this, you can do like a 5-minute video and show gameplay of it and actually show like to see what it does.
Yeah.
But in a lot of cases, it's not something you may even see with stuff like this. But
let's talk about an example. If you flip, I'm trying to think of a card that's like a 2/0. Havoc. Okay, you're in a negative deck.
Yep.
You have a flipped Havoc and a flipped Iron Man.
Yeah.
In the past, if you play flipped Havoc, once he's on the board, cards don't care about their cost anymore.
Yeah.
So flipped Havoc or Havoc is a 2 cost on the board, whether he's negative or not, right? He's 2. And so if you play Blink after him, it's always going to upgrade to a card that costs 3 or more.
Okay. Yeah.
Even if you played him as a 0, Blink will not pull a 1 because she sees him as a 2 cost.
Okay.
The change that's happening now is in the past, Blink would look at base cost.
Yep.
So you could upgrade a Havoc into a negative Iron Man because Blink used to see negative Iron Man as a 5 cost. She now sees negative Iron Man as a 0 cost. She will not upgrade Havoc into Iron Man if it's been flipped.
Okay.
And that's why I'm like, I don't know if this is a good thing. It might be helpful for a Pixie deck to pull out one of the higher cost cards so that you have a higher chance of drawing low cost cards.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what interactions do you think they were looking at that? Because Blink she's not used a ton anymore. Most of the time she was used in, what was that one deck that everybody was using her in for a while? It was one of the meta decks, but now I can't remember.
She's been in ramp sometimes because you can do Electro into Blink.
Yeah, cool.
Like,
that was it, right? Sandman ramp. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So I don't know that it would interact necessarily with anything from the decks that necessarily she was playing in, but I could, I could see like
to me. I was just gonna say, to me, it feels like cleanup. This doesn't feel like Blink needed an adjustment.
Yeah,
and we're about to see the next set of cards. They're all cleanup. There's no functional change. They've just cleaned up the text.
Yeah, and
that's kind of what I think Blink is like. They just want her to be more consistent with other cards.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's a whole list of these other ones, and we'll go. Like, I'll read this over quickly. Text change costs versus cost. We currently use cost as a shorthand within the game to identify the printed energy cost of a card, as opposed to whatever it might currently cost. For example, Silver Surfer buffs 3 cost cards, but won't buff Mockingbird while there are 3 squirrels out, and will buff an Ironheart that's been flipped by Mr. Negative. However, some of our text was using cost in places where the card's mechanical function actually was paying attention to the modified cost. It didn't come up much, but it's the sort of thing we like to correct as we run into it. Perhaps the most prominent place this occurred was Jane Foster, where she often was used to grab cards that cost 0, thanks to a modifier, even though her text said cost. Below, you'll find a list of the cards and locations impacted by this text adjustment. Again, this is not a functional change to any of these. They all work today the same way they worked yesterday. They just line up a little better to communicate how they see a card's cost. So again,
can I interrupt?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is going to be very confusing to people who aren't following along with the text because
Yeah.
cost versus cost. It's lowercase cost versus uppercase cost. These are all cards that were using uppercase cost before, and they're trying to change it so that uppercase cost means base cost, whereas lowercase cost means whatever the current cost is.
Okay. that does make sense. Yeah, yeah. It's hard to see unless you're actually looking at the text. These are, like Lauren alluded to. These are they call them functional changes. So it's not something you're going to see that's going to really bother you much. There's just kind of like functional changes for them to make. And there's a whole list of cards. So I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll just name what they are. Yondu, Colleen Wing, Black Bolt, Lady Sif, White Queen, Jane Foster. Of course, they mentioned she was the kind of the culprit in all this, and Mirage. So there's just a note. We're aware that our Moon Knight change uses the capitalized cost in a way that's not consistent with the above. Moon Knight will be able to discard cards with a modified cost, like copies of Swarm. This inconsistency was a result of the changes flying separately through localization, and we'll correct it in the future updates. So they have to correct Moon Knight anyway. And then we just have another text change. This is for a location. This is just Throne Room is having its, and again, this is the whole cost thing. So with the old one was here with the highest cards here with the highest power have their power doubled. The highest power cards here have their power doubled. So just, and then this is things again. This is change of life changes stuff that's really not probably going to affect the game all that much. So like Lauren mentioned, Blink probably won't be that big of a deal. The Shadow King text change probably won't be that big of a deal that people will see. So
Shadow King not being stopped by Luke Cage is
that's true. That's true.
That's buff for Shadow King.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, all those ones you read besides Blink, all of them are working the exact same now. It's just text cleanup, and I like it when they do text cleanup. I like it when they make cards more consistent and more. They recently changed Odin so that he doesn't say reactivate. Yes. He says something like repeat your on reveals or something. He's like, he was the only card in the game who used the word activate. And of course, partially that's to avoid conflict with the upcoming keyword activate. But also it was like, why is it in this one instance we're calling an on reveal and activate when we never use that anywhere else?
Yeah,
I think it's really good for clarity, but it doesn't change anything balance wise.
Quality of life changes, right? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, they're good. People have been saying that many times. Obviously, there's things in the game that people get annoyed with, just little tiny silly things that might be silly to somebody, but if you keep getting it, like errors in the game that happen over and over again sometimes. So yeah, quality of life stuff is good. I wanted to bring up the interface of the game really quickly here because I just want to see where all this stuff is. So where your leagues are and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know that leagues are live yet, but alliances are now the rightmost tab.
The rightmost tab. Okay.
Yeah, they replaced the news, and then there's when you're in the alliances tab, there's actually I don't know where the news is anymore. Oh, it's only in the top. What was the rightmost tab before?
You know what? I don't know if mine. Let me see. The rightmost tab was the community tab. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's the community tab. Mine must not have updated because I don't.
So now you have to go through the news button on the main screen to get to the community tab.
Okay.
Because now the rightmost tab is alliances. Yeah, you might have to go to the App Store and search.
Yeah, I'm going to update it right now. I didn't realize that it didn't come out yet, or the update didn't happen yet. So yeah, they're making it a little harder to find stuff. I know people are having issues with finding Deadpools Diner when it first came out too. They're like, where is it? But yeah, let me just bear with me here on audio, the audio folks. I know it's a little tougher to figure this out, but we're not really looking.
If you want to work on that for a little bit, we can move on to alliances, and I have one going, so I can kind of talk about what it's doing right now.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Oh, I see it there. Yeah, alliances is all in the rightmost tab. There we go. Okay, I got it up too. Okay.
Yeah, so you can, when you're inside of an alliance, you can select bounties, which are basically just missions. You get to choose which you're going to work on. It looks like you can work on up to 3 at a time. Here are some of the ones that are available to me right now. Win 8 cubes in a match. Win with Viper and Green Goblin. I don't know if it's and or. Win a location with 20 or more power. These are very similar to the daily missions. Win with Ironheart. Move at least 7 cards in a match. That's a fun challenge. Win a location with 4 cards. So you can choose which one of these you want to do. So if you're in an alliance, it's nice to have, a move player, a destroy player, to have some variety in there. But when you finish these bounties, you get points for your alliance. And then at the end of the week, based on how many bounty points you have and based on how many bounty points your alliance has, you get rewards.
Okay. Nice.
It looks like the personal rewards are boosters and credits. And then the alliance rewards are boosters, credits, and a mystery variant.
Okay.
So if you and your alliance can get 120,000 points from bounties in a week, then you all get a mystery variant and 200 credits. That's pretty good. Like, that's all new free stuff. There's no cost associated except for a one-time fee of 100 gold to make the alliance. And that only costs the one player who created it. It doesn't cost anything to join an alliance.
I'm going through the create screen right now, and I'm looking at the symbols for the alliances. There's symbols literally almost for every hero here. I have Captain Marvel's there. Deadpool, of course, they have a Deadpool like the bubble tea as a symbol. They have the cupcake, Thor's hammer, Echo. So Echo has her little handprint there. Oh man,
the unicorn tank.
The unicorn. Yeah, that's awesome. Fantastic Four, Ms. Marvel. That is.
Is it Spectrum?
Spectrum. Yeah, Hulk, Red Hulk. That's a Hydra symbol. What is the Mobius strip?
I don't know.
There's like I don't know what that one
Maybe
is.
Maybe it's Mobius.
It could be Mobius. Yeah.
I don't know that he has a superhero logo though.
Yeah, no, he doesn't really. Yeah, and then there's Iron Fist.
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, it could be Kang. Moon Knights is cool. Phoenix, Jean Grey. Phoenix is there. I don't know what the little chemical one is there either. There's like a little chemical symbol with the red dots. I'm not sure what the Hazmat. Doctor Strange, Magneto's helmet. There's what the heck is the goat? There's one with a goat.
Maybe it's just to say your group is the goat.
Your group is the goat, or your group is satanic or something like that. I don't. Shield is there. There's a spider. That's Miles, I believe. Then the 10 rings. Oh, that's cool. We don't even have him in the game yet. That's Mandarin from Iron Man. Wow, that's awesome. Not sure what the lightning bolt is. Either the lightning bolt in the circle. Oh, there's Hazmat. Hazmat's the green one. Spider-Man, of course, the black suit Spider-Man symbol. Hydra, the green Hydra symbol. Wolverine with the 2 claws. The other one that kind of looks like Doctor Strange is odd. It could be Wong. Maybe that's Wong because it looks like a portal. X-Men, of course, both the red and the gold Iron Man. The Avenger symbol, Black Panther, Black Widow. Oh, they're in order. That makes sense. They're in alphabetical order. Bullseye, then Captain Marvel, then Deadpool. Yeah, they're all in order. So if you're not sure what they are mostly in alphabetical order. The unicorn's hilarious, by the way, with the 4 stars on the bottom. The unicorn's hilarious. I love the Fantastic Four. I hope they add more because so many people have asked me. I might end up having to use that purple Mobius thing because the people that I've asked about alliances and as far as myself goes, they were all mentioning Agatha. And I'm like, I guess that would kind of fit since I always did my Agatha stuff every single weekend most of the time. I only recently stopped that. But a lot of them are mentioning using Agatha thing. So I might that's probably the closest I could get to her would be that purple the purple strip thing. But that's awesome though. So you have already gone in and created since you made one, how was the creation process? Like how was it to create everything?
It failed the first time.
Okay.
And the second time. I restarted the app and then it worked fine. It's kind of like what you were just going through where you're going to select the theme, the icon. You have to put in both a name and a tag, and the tag is 3 letters.
Okay.
I tried doing 2 letters and it didn't take it. You have to do exactly 3 for the tag. My understanding is the combination of name and tag has to be unique. So you could have hundreds or thousands of alliances with the exact same name but a different tag, which is kind of interesting. This is a lot of what we've seen in the data mines. You can choose
Yeah.
a minimum collection level, a minimum highest rank achieved. You can choose privacy, which is either open, anybody can join, invite only, or closed. You can choose which language, and then you can add search labels. You can pick up to 3, and there's stuff like beginner friendly, has a Discord server, very active, bounty focused.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I see that. The
So you can
bounty.
kind of indicate probably best for open alliances to indicate like, is this casual? Is this serious? Do we care more about being competitive or more about collecting variants? Like,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
really
No,
cool.
this is yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I would guess that yeah, the themes are kind of neat. Bubbly, cozy, cosmic. You see all the things in. I like the
It kinda,
neural
like,
one.
gives you a cool background effect.
Yeah,
I imagine they'll be adding lots more effects as time goes.
I would think, and I would think they'd probably do more of the symbols too along the way,
Right.
and just put out like more of the cards and stuff in there. Yeah, I would agree. No Galactus, come on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what the heck?
I right. Yeah, I would imagine they'll do a lot more to this, but yeah, this is cool. I mean, yeah, it is open or invite only, so that's kind of neat. You could change that however you want it to be. I'm surprised there are so many already in there.
Yeah,
When I
it
went
went
in,
fast, right?
yeah, that got full pretty quickly. There's a join button obviously at the top. Yeah, you already have. They're putting somewhat active, bounty focused. Yeah, a lot of them.
There's in-game chat now.
Yeah,
which is also
the chat.
cool.
I'm thrilled with the chat feature. Yeah,
it's limited to 255 character messages apparently.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But that's fine. You can break up a message.
Yeah.
But that kind of answers my question of why would you have a Discord and an in-game chat? And I guess that would be one reason. I mean, like a Discord specific to your alliance. And that would be one reason, is if you wanted messages longer than 255 characters.
Right. I would think too, you could probably go back and change some of these things. Like if you choose one of the themes,
yes,
or
you can.
like, or now I wonder if they'll let you change your symbol. I would think you can, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I was already fiddling with that.
Okay. Oh yeah, look at all the themes. Yeah, Astral, Inferno, Villain, Alloy, Enter the Alliance name. Cool. Okay. All right. So we have alliances, of course, and then leagues. Lauren mentioned leagues a little bit before. So that's, I mean, this is all big stuff. I mean, a lot of releases here that have come out today. Obviously no card today, so they put all this stuff out already that is out there for people right now to do. So whether you're gonna, if you're gonna create your own alliance or if you're gonna join one or looking to join one, it's all out there for you. And of course the leagues thing is starting today as well. So it's pretty exciting day. I mean, what do you think of the? I'm going to ask you this too because I wanted your opinion on this. Obviously, no card, right? No card today because of Cassandra Nova. I actually think this is a pretty good thing, and not just because of the whole free card, but I also think this gives people a break. Like I think that's amazing. I mean, you've come on my show many times and talked about, the like all the math behind everything.
The economy.
Right. And the economy. Yeah. You've talked to me several times about that. I mean, this is a good thing, I think, for the economy. If I were them, I'd find a way. And I know they said they were going to bring the diner back in some way, shape, or form. It may not be Deadpool. It may be another theme the way that they're going to do it. But I'll tell you what, I think it's the more they can do it, I think would be a good thing. And we'll go into the Deadpools Diner thing because of this as well. But I think the more they bring it back, this alone, the fact that you're saving a week for people where they can now save, they don't have to open caches. Yeah, you're getting them today, but you don't have to. There's not a card that you need to necessarily get because there's no new card out this week. So that one card a month that they're giving for free kind of offsets that one extra card we ended up getting every single month. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I think it's pretty cool that you have an off week that you can kind of save up now, so you can go into next month. But I don't know. Yeah. What are your thoughts? And then we'll get into the diner altogether.
I agree. A skip week is great, and the fact that it is a skip week, also they try to put good cards in the spotlight, so it can be a good catch-up week for newer players. You know, like Nico's in there. I can't remember who else is in there, but it's a good set. I'm expecting Diner to be about once a quarter, and I think it probably will always have a free card. I think that's why people played it.
Yeah.
Right? I think you would have had much less.
Yeah, for
People
sure.
even though it had great awards or rewards, right? Like lots of the borders, and people have been loving those.
Yep.
I suspect this was a last second change because in the data mines all along we saw Cassandra Nova in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I think it was a last second change that they were like, hey, what if we added a card as a prize to Deadpool's Diner? So my guess, this is just, you know, I don't have any insider information. This is just reading the tea leaves, is I think we will continue to get a free card through Diner about once a quarter, but I don't think we're going to have skip weeks again. I think next time they'll be better prepared, and it'll just be a 7-card season.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So just an extra card then instead. Yeah.
That's what I think. It would be cool for them to do skip weeks, but I would remind you that before January, we did have a skip week every month. The new season card was always a skip week, and then January they changed that. So it would surprise me if, you know, like it was very intentional that they removed skip weeks. So I think that they will avoid them in the future.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. But enjoy it. I mean, we've got one, so enjoy it. And it's cool. Like I said, they released all this stuff today, so everybody's going to be messing around with this stuff anyway, rather than worrying about, you know, opening for new cards and stuff like that. Although, if you do want the stuff that's in the caches, you know, go ahead and chase those. But otherwise, it's just, so it's kind of nice. But yeah, I want to get into this. Obviously, Deadpool's Diner released. Became a kind of quick point of contention for some people, unfortunately. When they got into the game, now the way I went about it, I can remember watching It's Guest Gaming's stream a little bit that day, because he did say he had done a video, like a tutorial video, that for Marvel Snap. So I was waiting for the stream and I wanted to see the tutorial video. So it came out, he even wanted it to release a lot earlier than it did. It only came out a few minutes actually right before the Diner was released. And so I watched that first before I went in. So I kind of knew, I got a little more information just from watching that. And I kind of knew what I was getting into. So that said, you know, a lot of other people didn't. They didn't know it was there. It only came out a few minutes before. So they went in, you know, hey, I'm going to go right in here and start playing. And they lost their first game. And they got that wonderful little message saying, well, you are out of bubs. Would you like to purchase more to continue playing? So not a fun thing for many people that saw that. And then they, you know, you really kind of didn't know unless you watched the video, unless you listened to some of the people who played it first and then got into it later. Some of the lucky people that just couldn't play it right away and didn't get into it until a couple hours later and got to hear some advice from people out on Twitter or wherever it was. But you know, what do you think of the way this was handled? We're going to get into all this because you've got a lot of information here that we're going to go over. This is all from that Lauren sent over to me. And she put this out on Twitter to help out people who are struggling with this. But what was your first reaction? I want to see to when you got in and played.
I mean, I had that experience too. I think I won my first 2 or 3, but then I still had the experience of eventually getting to a point where I was playing my max table. I lost all my bubs in one go, and then it was like, oh, I can't play anymore.
Yep.
I think it was a misstep in the sense that, like, I don't know how. It feels like they weren't paying attention to a new player experience when they built this.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot about Diner that is unintuitive, hard to explain, and not explained well, especially in the game. And even things that are like invisible or very hard to see. So in that sense, I think like the communication surrounding it was not well done. But if we take all that as a given, I think they've handled it very well, right? They got the feedback on the first day, and very quickly they changed it so that the serial table had stakes that were like, it cost 8 bubs to enter instead of 80 bubs to enter. And that's a huge difference. That basically lets you play as much as you want, or at least the longest wait time you'll have is 1 hour.
Yep.
I think they've definitely learned a lot, and there will be significant improvements to like new player experience and to the instructions the next time Diner comes around.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it was just like that, like we were saying, the fact that, you go in there and you just go and play and you lose right off, and then you're told you have to wait. Yeah, it's kind of a bad feeling. And then, the other thing was, nobody really understood the way to go. Like a lot of people were thinking, because I can even remember watching streamers were playing, and a lot of them were thinking, okay, I won this table, I earned the next table, I'm just moving on, I'm going on to the next table and the next table and next table, and they almost kind of had it in their heads that they needed to do that. Well, I need to go higher, go higher, go higher, go higher. And that's normally, when you're looking at it from a poker standpoint, and I never played, poker tables or go to poker, I've only ever played friendly card games with my friends, but I know that that people who do that, when you're playing high stakes tables, you go from one table to the next. It's just how it goes. So you have that kind of in your head that you need to do that. And that really wasn't the way, like, until people found out, no, don't do that, because you want to earn your bubs, and then you want to kind of play a table or two back, so that if you do crash out and you lose, you're not losing all your bubs. You're
you can still play.
Yeah. So, but again, you're right. Like, and I think it's up to them. You can't really rely on your content creators, who are awesome, but you can't rely on them 2 hours after the fact to say, oh, hey, don't do this, because like you mentioned, a lot. Yeah, sure, there are a lot of people out there who do watch content creators and stuff like that, but there's also a lot of people who don't, and they're just playing the game themselves, and they don't have any guides, or they don't have anything to see. My goodness, there's probably people who, I mean, God, you wouldn't think this is true, but there's probably people who aren't on social media either, that don't necessarily go on Twitter and see anybody posting this stuff. So that, like, and you were saying, new players and stuff, it feels bad, because they have to figure that out themselves, to not do that. So, I know you had posted a lot of this, but let's go over some of this, some of your slides here that you sent over, and what this one is. Now, obviously, the audio listeners, you'll kind of have to, we'll read it out for you a little bit as best we can. I know you guys won't see it necessarily, but we'll read it out to you, and obviously Lauren will explain it the best she can.
Yeah, so I think more of what I'm going to do is just talk about the concept shown. If you would like to go to the YouTube video and see the visuals, or you can go to my Twitter feed, Lauren Whatevs.
Yep.
They're all there. You don't need the visuals, though, for like the high level concepts I'll be sharing.
Yeah.
I wanted to speak to what you were saying about like the intuitiveness, and I have like a really mixed feelings about it, because there are some, and the game designers know this. It's not just about being nefarious and being greedy and getting as much money as they can.
Oh, yeah.
They know there are players who enjoy the game of optimizing, right? Not just the gameplay, but also, how do I optimize the economy? How do I optimize this new game mode? Like, that is part of the game for some players. And I think it's really hard to find that sweet spot where it's like, okay, the thing that is intuitive to do is good enough, but you can also do these things to optimize it just a little bit more. Anyway, I think I'm going to skip over most of the basics of Diner. Okay. Mostly it's just snap, except there are 2 extra snaps, 2 extra doublings, right? Instead of just doubling on the last turn of the game, it also doubles on turn 4 and turn 5. And that's if you commit to turn 4, commit to turn 5. Just like in a regular snap game, if you retreat on turn 6, you can escape with 1 cube.
Yeah.
In a sense, this is the snappiest game mode there's ever been, because the thing that makes snap is the retreat and the snap mechanic.
Yep.
That's what makes it so that cards that are really swingy, and that's how they mitigate luck in the game is, oh, something didn't go my way, I'm running away. And so with the fact that there are now 5 doubles just makes this the snappiest that it's ever been. You need the same skills that you use to climb ladder to do well in Diner. And it's basically 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And you just repeat that process. You can do better than 2 steps forward, one step back, but that's the basic idea, is just you are going to lose. Nobody has a 100% win rate, even the best players.
Oh yeah.
But try to maximize your wins, minimize your losses, trend forward. I would say it's not too late. If you haven't started Diner yet, you will have to dedicate some hours to it, maybe like 6 hours of gameplay or so. But it's doable, especially if you go in knowing some tips. So this first image I have is just it's breaking down the goal to get to Cassandra 15 million or the variant 500 million in 14 even steps, because we had 2 weeks for the mode. And it really shows how hard exponents are for humans to understand, right? Like the halfway from 0 to 15 million is 34,000, right? I had so many players on the first day I saw it on Twitter who they were at 50,000 ish, and they were like, "Oh, I feel so far behind. Am I?"
Yep.
It's like, no,
Yep.
you're actually many days ahead.
Yep.
So if you want to see what that like progress chart looks like, here it is. A lot of players who I have shared these tips with on Twitter have been getting Cassandra in about a week without spending any gold, and that's why I say it's not too late. If you're hearing this right now, you're cutting it close, but it's not.
I think it's interesting, right? Because I think you're spot on in the fact that when people think of millions, automatically, right? 15 million is 15 million. That's a huge number. But what a lot of people were trying to say before this even started was, yeah, it is a large number. However, the way they have this set up, you're going to be able to achieve that number without that much of an issue. So, but then when people came in and they saw it, they're like, no, this is going to take me forever. I'm never going to do this. When you're right, like, and that's what this table is showing you guys. So again, if you're not watching on YouTube, come over and check it out. You could see it, or you could go to Lauren's Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and see it there as well. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, it just became something that overwhelmed people right away when they saw it, and they're like, "My God, I am never going to get this card. There is no way I'm going to get this." But it just, the way it goes up and up and up, it doesn't work out that way. And you could see the math all here on the table. But yeah.
Doubling things, if you double it many times, it gets very big very fast.
Yep.
I should also say, before we get into more of how to get Cassandra, don't feel too bad if you miss her. She's going to be available for tokens as soon as Diner is done.
Yep.
She will be in future spotlights. That's probably 5 to 6 months away, which is a different issue, but
right,
she will be. And also, everybody benefits from Cassandra's presence in the meta, right? Like, Cassandra is good as an anti-Arishem card.
Oh man,
we're already seeing Arishem's play rate plummet.
I don't see the decks hardly anymore.
Right. So even if you don't have Cassandra, you're still benefiting from all the people who do have Cassandra chasing Arishem out of the meta.
That's true. Okay,
we can go to the next one.
All right.
One of the ways that they help your progress is your bub refill rate. Like we were mentioning earlier, you do refill every hour. You hit your max regeneration in 8 hours. Along the way of your progress track, you get upgrades to how much you're refilling. And that's what these are. The refill caps, you unlock them at the same point as the cap. As an example, when you reach 750 is when you get the 750 cap upgrade. That is one of the things that was not communicated well. It took me a while to track down all the numbers. And I was like, oh, there's a pattern here. When you hit 60,000 is when you get the 60,000 upgrade.
Okay. I could see where that would be confusing.
Yeah, it's not clear at all.
So those are the bub marts, right? The bub marts that you're talking about.
The first 4 are called, or the first 3 are called bub refill upgrades.
Bub refill
and then
upgrades,
once you hit 21,000 is when you get the bub
marts. Okay.
Which is the bub mart is a refill upgrade and an upgrade to how many bubs you get when you spend gold.
Yep.
I should say the bubs that you regen do not contribute towards your progress towards Cassie, but any of them that you earn in a match counts, and any of them that you buy with gold counts. So I'm not going to say you need to spend gold, but if you want to spend gold, when you get to the 60,000 point or the 600,000 point, both of those the $50 gold level is a huge step forward, and that'll buy you probably a day or two of time.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's something that really would have helped a little bit, I guess. And whether it was just a little, I'm almost surprised. Like they show videos for cards and stuff like that every now and then, and little clips. I'm surprised they didn't have. Now I get it; they had Guest Gaming do it, but I'm almost surprised that they didn't come out with an official one that could have explained some of this stuff in like a little 5-minute or whatever video. But yeah,
Guests was official.
Yeah.
Guests
No,
on the official channel.
Yeah, I guess then looking at it from that aspect, that it didn't come out earlier. I think it should have let it come out earlier.
I agree with that. They should have given the community time to be excited about the video and process it instead of just diving into the mode.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember the whole IGN fiasco where everything they presented was done really poorly.
Yes, it was.
So Guest, after the fact, made a video covering all the IGN stuff.
Yeah, he did. It was very good.
Yeah. That was directly, I'm sure that is directly why he was invited to do this one. More
than likely. Yeah. His video was excellent. Yeah, I remember watching that, and it was so because that was so many of us were saying, God, just mention it was a free card. That's all they had to do at that expo thing. Just say, hey guys, we're giving you a free card. Boom. It would have been so much easier. But and then
show a little bit of footage of Diner instead of just showing an infographic. It was very strange.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we can go to the next. Yep. Okay. This chart is overwhelming, but I'm going to talk about the points of the chart.
Reminds me of something I would have had in high school that I would have gotten a bad score on. Yeah.
Okay. So this is talking about the value of retreating at 0 snaps. This is it's an important skill to have when you're climbing ladder. I usually tell people if you're having trouble climbing, and I remind myself of this too. If you're having trouble climbing ladder, it's almost always because you're not retreating enough. There can be other problems, but that's the most common one. Like I said before, this is the snappiest game mode. The difference between retreating and staying is even more pronounced here.
Yep.
If you stay or if you win a 5-snap game, that buys you 32 0-snap retreats to net 0.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? A 4-snap game buys you 16 retreats. A 3-snap game, which is just neither player snapped, those are the automatic snaps. A 3-snap game lets you retreat 8 times at 0 snaps. So it's very, very important to retreat at 0 snaps. That is on turn 4. The first automatic snap happens on turn 4. If things aren't looking good, if you're not pretty sure you're going to win, get out of there.
Yeah.
So that's the point of this table. Everything that is 0 or negative is you're not making progress. Everything that's positive is you are making progress. If you can win 1 out of every 9 games, you're making forward progress.
And that's not bad. I mean, 1 out of every 9. That's you're gonna, and again, it goes back to you're going to get. Do you like think that what everybody had said, and I've heard this said by many other creators that have done videos on this. Do you think that I think Cam Best actually said it yesterday. Do you think that people just were too impatient? Thinking, and it's funny because he used my little comment. I don't know if you've ever seen his hot take videos that he does. Mm-hmm. He used my comment, which I was shocked. But he used my comment about, because I had mentioned, I'm like, I think that people went into this thinking I've got to get this card as fast as possible because of Arsham.
Yes. And I saw so much anxiety about not getting the card right away. And it's like, it's a 2-week mode.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that ruined it. And I put that up there. That was the comment that he shared on his hot take video. And he agreed with it. It's like people were just so anxious because they were so over Arsham that, I got to get this. I got to get this. I got to get this. It's the counter. Because it was said to be the counter to Arsham. Everybody touted this card as the counter. So that led people to like, I got to get this. I'm not taking 2 weeks to get this. I have to get this now. because if I want to hit infinite, if I'm close to infinite or whatever, and if I want to hit infinite, I need this card and I need it now.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's actually really good insight. And I've seen a lot of people hating the mode, and it's like, yeah, up to like the 600,000 point, there's tons of RSM everywhere.
Yep.
Once you get around there, it starts dying off, and then once you get to the point where people have Cassie, RSM's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, it would have been really interesting in a parallel universe if Copycat and Cassie Nova had been switched. You know, the week before Diner, everybody had access to the anti-Airsham card.
Yep.
Copycat's a good card, but not so meta relevant.
Right.
Maybe there would have been a lot less of that like urgent anxiety.
Yep. Yeah, because even now, like I'm seeing before I came on the show with you, I was scanning over Twitter, and I'm still seeing people saying, "Oh, I'm struggling. I can't get this card. This sucks," you know. And then I try to respond, and I'm like, "Well, listen, I don't think you need to worry about it as much because RSM's really not around as much as he was. I think I saw yesterday through the course of me playing on ladder, I saw one RSM deck in probably like a couple hours. Yeah. So that's really, really gone away. Like literally, if people who are not have this card right now, they're playing. Most of them are playing Darkhawk with her in the deck. A lot of them are with Cassandra, but I think RSM has gone away a lot, to be honest. But I think that was a lot of the reason why. And like you said, it was designed to be a 2-week thing. They designed this to be everyone should be able to get this card by 2 weeks. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think about how they need to be considerate about card release order.
Yeah.
It's like we saw this with Loki also, where it was like, I don't remember exactly. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks between Loki and Mobius.
Yep.
And so Loki, who was already busted at 3-5, didn't have a hard counter at all. Nobody could counter him if they wanted to. And I think, I might be remembering wrong, but I think Ravonna was out after Mobius. She might have been a week before, but it's like she never even got a chance to shine.
She was, yeah. Mobius was out first. Yeah.
It was like this really strange release order that, like,
yeah.
How do you balance that? That seems like a tough challenge.
I think that's why everybody asks. They were always asking them and stuff like. There was even a question I saw in the to the devs. It's like something about play testing, saying that what's going on with like play. Why don't you guys understand that this this would happen this way? But yeah, I agree. I think that maybe if, like you were saying, maybe if they would have just swapped cards, knowing that. And then there's questions out there too that are saying like, did they make Arshem and release it knowing that they had a counter coming, but the counter wouldn't be coming until this, so then there's people wondering about that. And of course, listen, you're always going to get that crowd of people is conspiracy theorists and this, and I don't succumb to a lot of that, but it's like, you're going to get that out there too. Like, what are you doing? But it's like, I don't know. I think that, and then all of a sudden, the thing that we started off talking about with this is it's a free card gets overlooked, because then they're like, well, yeah, but you get the buts, and they're like, yeah, but I can't get it, or yeah, but I will never get it right off the bat like everybody else does. And I also think that, like, some other people, I watched guest stream a little bit afterwards that too. He literally sailed through it. He sailed through it. He got the card in an hour, in 1 hour of gameplay. And then he got the variant. I think it took him 4 hours total to get both, like 4 hours. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, damn, I even fell prey to it too, because I watched it and then I went in and started to play. And he was getting, I mean, listen, you can get lucky and sometimes you won't. He got lucky because he got a ton of bots.
Yeah, well, if he was on the cutting edge of the furthest tables, you can only match with people playing the same table as you.
Yeah.
And I actually gave that note to the devs. I was like, well, it probably would have been fine to matchmake with people at similar tables and just adjust the Bubs rewards accordingly.
Yep.
But they didn't have time for that, or they didn't think of it, whatever. I imagine that's one fix they might do for the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all those players who were like on the cutting edge of the tables, they were getting tons of bots because there weren't other players to match with.
Yeah. And there I started to play after I watched the stream. I was watching for about 20 minutes. I started to play and I'm going up and I'm like, I'm not seeing any bots, not a single one. I think the whole time I played till I got the card, I think I had one bot. one that I recognized because it was just playing stupid. And
I
I'm
had
like,
a decent amount, but it was probably like 1 in 8, 1 in 10, something like that.
I literally saw none. So I was like, and a lot of people were mentioning that too. They're like, and even they had that little challenge thing. What was that called? The creators, Conquerors, yeah. And they were even talking about it then. Like so many of them. I think Jeff Hoogland was the one who won it, but he was just getting bot after bot after bot after bot. That kind of sucks.
Yeah,
especially for something like that.
Silly way to win.
Yeah. So go ahead.
While we're talking about bots, there was discovered this method where you could retreat 10 times in a row on the same table and guarantee a bot.
I read that. Yep.
This chart actually shows you why that's a good method. If you look at the 10 retreats row all the way at the end, if you can win a 4-snap game or a 5-snap game, you end up on top, even if you retreat 10 times in a row.
Okay.
I personally think that was a silly way to play, and it created some interesting behavior. Like there were players pretending to be bots because then that let them retreat faster. If the other player like hesitated, because like, oh, is this a bot or not? Because you had to be. My understanding is you had to be the one who retreated 10 times in a row. If somebody retreated faster than you, it broke your streak. So then it's like, oh, did I have to retreat 14 times to get a bot? I don't know. I think it was a silly method, but it doesn't matter because they supposedly fixed it yesterday.
Yeah, I did see that.
So don't do that.
Yeah, I did see that they changed that. There's another thing going around too, where the community is now just trying to help each other.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it really is. That's going around it was a list of what is it? You go in and you retreat, obviously, for the other player. So I can't remember the details of it.
So you're rocking the Cassandra variant avatar.
That's right,
Loves Dubstep title and the Diner card back. That's like your signal that you're donating. And you say, hello, I'm losing. This is important to cover because y'all might run into donators.
Yeah.
But I've also heard of fake donators. So don't snap on turn 1 if somebody is acting like a donator. Wait until turn 6 to snap when they have shown you, I'm not playing cards for 5 turns.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who are going down to kebab, ice cream, and cherry pie, especially those 3 tables, and giving away the bubs that they're regenerating. Because when you're later in the game, you're regenerating 30 million bubs every 8 hours.
Yep.
And that's a ton of bubs for somebody who hasn't reached Cassandra yet.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done a little bit of it myself, and it is super cool to go and give out 8 million bubs to somebody and get them halfway to Cassandra.
It's like Deadpool Santa. Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? You know what? Why not? It's you can help some people out and that are stressing about getting it and stuff like that too. Yeah, that's a real cool thing to do. That's cool that someone came up. I don't know who came up with that, but it's a cool idea. Cool idea.
Okay, we have the most important tip coming up. So this chart is basically retreat a lot, but don't retreat so much that you're forcing bots. That's dumb. We can go on to the next one. Okay, this one is really important. This is why you play a table or 2 lower. There are 5 snaps in the game, but the cost to enter a table, or like the minimum bubs you have to have a balance of, is worth 3 snaps. So if you're right there at that 3 snap limit, your max on that table is the same max as the table below. Like 3 snaps on that table is the same as 4 snaps on the table below. And guess what? You're in control of snap number 4. So the maximum winnings are the same, but the minimum losses are smaller, right? If you go to a smaller table, when you retreat, you're losing fewer bubs, or when you lose, because of course you will lose sometimes. So my suggestion at first was play 2 tables down. It's a little bit different now, and we'll get into that. But basically, you do want to be playing at lower tables to control how many bubs you can possibly lose in that match. You really want to avoid losing 5 snap games, which is the equivalent of losing an 8 cuber. So all the tables have food names, right? Going all the way up to kebabs, each table is double the required cost of the previous table. Once you hit ice cream, they start going times 5 instead of times 2. And so that's why this chart has the breakdown where it's like kebabs, ice cream, cherry pie, because they all have different relationships to the tables around them. But so you can see like the let's just look at the top 3 rows, the kebabs. You can see that whether you win a 3-snap game, a 4-snap game, or a 5-snap game, you're only getting 100% of your bubs. I should mention the best you can do is doubling the bubs that you have.
Yep.
So even if the table stakes could go higher, you're maxed out. You can't go triple your bubs. It won't let you. So this is the most important tip for climbing, is if you have a good chunk of time to play, don't go all in, because then you will lose all your bubs.
Yep.
And you can't spend your game time. You can't spend it in diners. You have to go to, as I knock over my cup, you have to go to Conquest or Ranked. This is absolutely the most important tip. Play 1 to 2 tables down. This is going to depend on your skill at the game. This is going to depend on your risk tolerance, how much time you have to play, and how long your break is going to be when you stop playing. Like, if you only have a few minutes to play and you're going to go to work or go to sleep, you might as well go all in, because then you can regen bubs during the next 8 hours.
Yep.
So we can go on to the next.
One real quick thing I'll add here. I realized this like a few games in, and I was kind of doing the same thing. I was thinking that that you have to keep going, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute, and I kind of realized it, so I backed off and I started just playing in one table. Now I will tell everybody, yes, you will go a little bit slower up the graph. So when you do that, you are not going to gain as much. So your rewards will start coming a little bit slower, just so you know. When you go all in, obviously you're going to shoot up that graph a lot faster because you're winning a lot more. It just makes sense. So just be prepared. Yeah, but think of it as, and some people compared it to this a little bit, and this is where I kind of understood it too. Compare it to ladder, right? You're going up the ladder, but sometimes you'll lose one, you'll go down one. Right, you'll take that 1 cube loss, you'll go down one. But then your next one, you'll win a 4 cuber and you'll go up. Just think of it that way, because it's very similar to that. You just want to cut your losses. You don't want to lose a ton, and you continue to do small climbs. It took me a little bit. I remember when I got up I got to the 2. I think there's the 2 borders that come before Cassandra's card. So I got up to the borders, and I think I was up at that point in time. I might have been at kebabs then, or maybe a table lower. I don't remember. But I remember I was up there, and I kept, I'd lose one, but I just dropped down. I'd take a 1 cube loss, but then when I'd win, I'd go. But then I would see the graph, and it's like moving up just a little bit. But as long as you're gaining, that's progress. And again, that's where, what Lauren mentioned before, the patience comes in. You almost have to play it like that, where think of it as you're getting closer even to infinite. And you're going up, but you're going down a little bit. But then you win one game, you go up higher. But don't get too anxious because you're not seeing the graph move a lot. It's just because of the fact that you are playing on the lower tables. So yeah, yep,
yeah. So it's like you were saying, if you're not playing all in, you don't climb as fast, but you also don't lose as fast.
Correct.
And so slow and steady is the way to go.
Yep.
In my final stretch, so I had been experimenting a lot with the mode to try to I was doing some math, but also some just exploring and seeing what worked, what didn't work. And I zeroed out my bub several times. But in my final stretch to Cassandra, I played for 4 hours straight. I didn't spend any gold. I never needed to wait for regen because I had figured out this method where it's like, oh, if I lose, I still have bubs left.
Yep. Yeah, you could keep playing because 100%. Yep.
So here's the core to my method, the number of bubs you should have to enter a mode. So the bubs, and this is something that the visual is going to be helpful.
Yeah.
Not required.
I could kind of read them off as you go. I mean, we have serial, bubs needed, and method. So bubs needed is 80, and the method minimum bubs is 80. So obviously that's your first table. Mm-hmm. But then as you go, it goes from 160 bubs needed. And then your minimum bubs is 320. So it's like a good way, I guess, to put it would be, the pancakes table, you want to have at least double, right? You want to have double before you go in so you don't lose them all. If you lose one game, you're okay. You're not losing all your bubs. and then it goes up from there, right? 320 to 640 again.
If you look at the last column, there's a really clear and simple pattern. That's probably the part that's worth reading out loud.
Yep. The maximum effort one.
Yes. Well, sorry, not the last row.
The
column,
method multiplier. I'm sorry. Yeah.
See, there's only 3 different numbers here. Serial, which actually should be 8, not 80. I made this before they adapted that. Serial, you should enter when you can afford it. Like, that's very straightforward. It's the lowest table. Right. You have to take some risk there, or you can wait for a full refill. And I'm pretty sure a full refill gets you into pancake territory. Once you're to enter pancakes through kebabs, which is the majority of the tables, you should have double the stakes before you play at that table. That way, if you lose a 4-snap game, it's actually, if you lose a 3-snap game, then you still have double for the next table down. So you do have to avoid losing 4-snap games. But that's where we're talking about being conservative. And if you tend to be a risky player and you can't stop yourself from losing those 4-snap games, increase these multipliers. Go for 3 times the table buy-in before you play at that table. Once you hit ice cream and higher, you want to enter that table once you're at 1.25 times. And just to give an example, ice cream is 409,000 to enter. You're not going to play ice cream until you're at 512. And again, that gets you to a point where if you lose a 3-snap game, then you have 1.25 times left for the next table down. So it gets you in this process where, as long as you're not losing 10 times in a row, you get to a point where you can still play the next table down. And as long as you're trending upwards, you will eventually get to the point where you can play ice cream over and over again. Now, using my own method, I got to cherry pie 2 or 3 times before hitting Cassandra Nova, and I lost at cherry pie every single time. So I made my entire climb to Cassandra was done with kebabs and ice cream. And it worked. It was a slow and steady, but it worked. It took a few hours of playing in ice cream, and I got Cassandra.
I think that's generally how I did it too. Because if I remember correctly, I was playing the majority in kebabs as well. It's that leads back to the comment earlier about the fact that it wasn't necessarily meant to be you're going to get this first day. It was meant to be over time. And again, this goes back to the whole thing that I've talked about on my show many, many times. I'm a casual player, and it is difficult sometimes as a casual player to hit things quickly. Because you don't have necessarily the time to play as much as you'd want to. And that's why, I celebrated hitting infinite so much, because I don't get a lot of time to play. And so this is what it comes down to. If you have this and you're playing as a casual player and you don't necessarily have all that time, you just have to do this almost similarly to the way you would do ladder. You just got to go slow but there does seem to be enough time in this 2-week period that if you do and you listen to the tips and stuff like that, that you should have no problem getting it for no money.
Yeah, I'll say, because I know that a lot of your audience is also casual players. That's why we love you.
Yep.
Just because you can't reach infinite doesn't mean you can't reach Cassandra.
Oh yeah.
Right? Maybe Cassandra's variant is out of reach if you can't reach infinite. Whether that's because you don't have enough time to play or because you haven't really figured out the snap retreat balance yet. But I think Cassandra is very reachable, especially if you've ever hit 60, 70. I don't want that to mean don't try if your best you've ever done is 40, something like that. I don't want that to mean don't try for Cassandra. The fact that that there's 5 snaps instead of 3 does mean you can climb faster.
Yep.
I don't know if my decks got included in the slides or not, but I did bring the 2 decks that I used. Okay, this is the deck I used to climb. I would suggest Darkhawk decks as long as you're seeing RSM. If you're not seeing RSM though, and this is kind of an expensive deck, so there's certainly other options. But I just I wanted to show off this is what I used to get to Cassandra. Once I got to Cassandra, I switched to this other deck, and this
just read this one off really quickly. So this is Thena Pool for Yo Woody made it, high level player. Kitty Pride, Thena, Angela, Jeff, Mysterio, Mobius, Hope, Copycat, Shang, Gwenpool, Mockingbird, and Sasquatch. So your Athena, Kitty Pryde, Angela list, which is very, very good. No matter where it's played, it's just an excellent list. You get that Athena going, can win a lane by herself. Mysterio, obviously, to get out the Mockingbird. Sasquatch comes out early. Mobius in there as well. Hope gives you the extra energy, and then Copycat is just really good. Just copies a card that your opponent has. So
Yo Woody's list actually used Nocturne instead of Copycat, but I was excited about Copycat, and it's an easy change. They're both good 3/5s.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll go to the next one. This is called Pet Store. I like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the point of the name is. Maybe it's like zoo adjacent because there's a
could be. Yeah.
It's a collaboration between Buddy and Safety Blade. It's a bounce list. I will give you time to read it off. If I know, I've shown this to some people, and they're like, "Ooh, bounce is one of those decks that's not for me." And I get that. That like everybody has decks that vibe with them and decks that don't. If bounce isn't your thing, maybe don't try this. Although I think this is a very good entry level bounce list.
Yeah.
But essentially, when you're doing bounce, you have cheap cards with good on reveals that you're trying to proc multiple times. And then the other thing that this list is doing is it has Werewolf by Night. And because you're bouncing cards, you get to use lots of on reveals. I got my Werewolf up to 14 or 16 multiple times.
Wow, okay.
Just because of how many times you get to proc these cards. And then if you use Beast or Black Swan, you get your one costs are so cheap that you could play Werewolf on the last turn and still make him huge.
Yep.
And then Cassandra, of course, is there to stop the handful of RSM players you do still see.
Yeah. I like it.
Go ahead and read it off.
No, it's Rocket Raccoon, America Chavez, Iceman, Korg, Nico, Beast, Falcon, Cassandra, Werewolf, Black Swan, Gwenpool, and Darkhawk. And like Lauren said, Cassandra just being in your deck is going to pretty much slaughter an RSM deck, just hands down. It just will. And then you have the Darkhawk too, just in case if they can't Shang everything, which is basically how it is. Unless they get lucky and pull another Shang, they get a random one. But otherwise, they can't Shang everything. They might be able to get rid of the Cassandra, but then you've got the Darkhawk there as a backup for RSM. So, Cassandra just wipes those decks out. But yeah, I'm not that big of a bounce player, but this doesn't look all that difficult to play. Some of them are a little big brained, but they're not. This one looks very simple. You want, like she mentioned, you want to get Rocket down. You can pick him back up. Later with Beast, the same with Iceman, which is always good. You're disrupting your opponent's hand by doing that. Nico can be whatever you want her to be. If you get the Demon, you could turn one of the other cards into a 1/6. Falcon, of course, picks up cards as well. Black Swan gives you the cheaper cost, and Gwenpool just brings up the power and everything. So it looks like a pretty fun list. And actually, I think right now, at least I think. It might have been KM that mentioned it yesterday too. This might actually be like one of the top decks out there right now, as far as like high infinite ladder. Anyway, I don't know because I never get that high, but it's probably up there. So yeah,
Cassandra and Darkhawk even work here without Arshem because you have Korg and you can bounce Korg.
Yeah.
So more rocks in the deck both make Darkhawk bigger, but also give more targets for Cassandra to hit.
Yep.
And then your opponent's drawing -1 rocks, which is kind of funny.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. I was kind of, I'm trying to think. I was kind of all over the place with my decks. I think I was using mostly the Ajax deck with, so kind of like the Junk-like type list. It was Darkhawk with Ajax, but then Ajax was so you had an alternate thing to do. You could either do the Darkhawk path, and he was in there for the RSM decks that I'd face. The Ajax list was that last. You could play Ajax, and you could play Hazmat, and it would get you just like a big card. Mystique's in the deck too, so you could either copy your Darkhawk or you could copy the Ajax. I've had that win me games. I've had Ajax already down. And then I would play Mystique the next turn.
Mystique Hazmat.
And Hazmat. Yep. Yeah. So that it wins you a lot of games. And so that was the one I was playing mostly. So yeah, I mean they both look great. And so yeah, there you go. If you're struggling and you're not really sure what to play, there you go. You've got two great decks that are there, made by awesome gamers. Obviously, Woody is great. Safety Blade is awesome. And Buddy, I don't know, but yeah. But you can try those out.
make sure you're playing a deck that you know well, because then
Yes,
that
for
lets
sure.
you be better about your retreating and snapping.
For
You
sure.
know if your hand is good. Something that there are lots of good Lambie tips out there, and I highly
Yeah.
recommend watching his videos. But one
Yep.
of them that has really helped me play a lot better is it's not you snapping and retreating, it's your deck snapping and retreating. Like, it's not my fault that I had a bad matchup against my opponent or that I didn't draw the cards.
Yep.
I'm just gonna retreat and try again. And when my deck draws in the right order, it's nasty.
Yep.
I do think if you're really struggling, I've seen people climb with discard, with surfer. Like, there's a lot of ways to climb. If you're really struggling, I think decks that have very clear strength by turn 3 or 4 are
Yep.
good, and that's your Mr. Negative. If you don't have practice with it, maybe not. But something like a Mr. Negative or a Hella, where it's like you can tell early on, do I have the nuts? That makes it easy to know when to retreat and when to snap.
Yeah. It's great advice, because and I've said when I hit infinite, that was a lot what it was. You really have to know when you're outmatched. Don't stick around thinking that you're going to pull that one card, because 9 times out of 10 you're not. And even if you do, at that point in time, it might already be too late. So yeah, I that was one of the things that I had to learn, because I oftentimes would say, oh, I've got back in the day when I was playing Galactus, I'm going to pull my Galactus and I'm just going to win. No, it doesn't work that way. If you've gone into a game and it looks like you're at like third turn in or so, and it looks pretty hopeless, let's say they've got a whole bunch of cards out and you just had a bad start. Maybe you got like a 6-drop, a 5-drop, and a 4-drop in your hand, and you can't play. Unless you've got a deck that can really turn it on in the next couple of turns, leave for that one cube. Because many times it's just not worth staying around. And you're right, Lambie does talk about that a lot. He's done a lot of videos that mention that, and it is a big thing. No matter which way you're playing the game, whether you're playing this or whether you're playing actual ladder. So
I've seen a few players say, like friends, people on Twitter, etc. I've seen a few players say that Diner has made them realize they are not good at Snap. And I think that's really interesting.
It is interesting,
and
yeah.
I share that for a couple reasons. One, so that if you're feeling that way, you're definitely not alone. It leans into what I was saying earlier about Diner being the snappiest Snap has ever been.
Yeah.
The snapping and retreating they are even more important now. They're already the most important thing. They're even more important now.
Yeah.
So take it as your opportunity. If you're not there yet, take it as your opportunity to learn Snap. You should be retreating a lot. And you should have a deck where you can recognize when it's doing the strong thing.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, players like myself, I was never an aggressive snapper. I just wasn't, and I'm still not. So I can, but again, it is a condition of the game, and in this mode, it's snapping for you. So you don't have a choice. You're snapping no matter whether you want to or not. And I can see that, if you're not a person who does that and you go in and you're not used to it, because the snaps that they do in that mode, when those come, you're not sure whether it's a player or not. It's hard to tell whether the other player is snapping, because you're not paying attention really sometimes to what the snaps are. So then you're almost kind of getting a little bit nervous. You're like, oh man, that snap came out. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. It snaps automatically. Was that them? Was that the game? And then you're like, oh my gosh. So it's a bit of I can relate to that, because it's a bit
I agree that it's hard to tell, but there are a couple ways. One is player snaps are red and auto snaps are blue.
Yeah.
And the other one is they sound different. I don't remember what the different audio clips are, but there's a different audio clip when your opponent snapped.
Yeah.
It should be more clear, but
yeah, I agree. They're putting all these little weird. Have you noticed the audio thing with Copycat?
I almost always play on silent, so no. But I've
heard
that your opponent can hear when your Copycat does her thing.
There's like an audio cue when you play her. You hear this little whoosh, this little whoosh sound. And I was wondering what that was. And I'm like, okay, that must be the fact that it's, I guess, letting them know that you have a copycat or you copied their cards. That's kind of...
They confirmed that was unintentional. So Copycat is supposed to be hidden information, so that will be changed eventually so that your opponent can't hear Copycat doing her thing.
Well, there you go. We hope that that all that helped you guys. Obviously, if you're not if you haven't gotten the card yet and you listen to this, we hope it helped out. Again, if not, please remember to check out at Lauren Whatevs on X. You'll see all of this stuff posted there in case you didn't see the slides or you're not watching on YouTube. If you're listening on audio, as always, I appreciate it. But if you want to see it clearly, you can see the slides and stuff like that, head over to my YouTube page and check out the video on there, and you will see all of these amazing graphics and charts that she created for this too. So awesome. Well, there you go. So, I mean, all in all, just to wrap up this little bit, I think it was fun. I think it's cool to give out a free card. And, sure, can they do some things better and learn from it? As Lauren said, I'm sure that they will. Because, yes, there are already things they did change up a little bit right from the start, from the very first day when they realized that everybody was coming in and they were losing their bubs right off the bat. And I'm sure the next time we do see this after the 2 weeks are up, whether it's quarterly or however they're going to do it, I'm sure there will be changes made to this that will make it a little bit easier for people to do. So, final thoughts on the diner from you, Lauren?
I ended up really liking it. That's another thing I've seen quite a few players say is like, "Oh, I'm surprised how much I like it." I did not like it at first.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how much of that was learning the mode that caused me not to like it versus just Arsham was everywhere, and maybe that's why I didn't like it.
Yep.
Yep. I think once it clicks, it's a really fun mode having the extra snaps. Having it be extra snappy is leans into that part of the game.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun in a different way than letting the game play out and see what happens. Like that's fun too.
Yep.
But I really liked the mode, and I'm glad that it's something that's going to be coming back periodically.
And maybe the snap thing actually will help people too. Maybe that'll help you learn how to, if you're like me and you're not a big snapper anyway, might help you learn how to snap better. Might help to make you better at the game overall. So yeah, great way to look at it. But yeah, I am too. I hope it comes back. I don't know how they'll do it. I don't know if they'll change the character or they'll keep it Deadpool, or if they'll change it to a different character as they go, like depending on the theme of the month.
I think they've said they're going to leave the theme how Deadpool? It is, which is kind of interesting, but I guess it makes it cheaper for them.
He's such a popular character too, though it doesn't really matter. I mean, he's, it's so much. Have you seen the movie yet? I'm going to see
Not yet. I'm very excited to.
Yeah, me too.
Soon, hopefully.
I literally made I watched Comic-Con on Saturday, and I made a video because of it. I was so excited when I heard Robert Downey Jr. was coming back. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing news. So many people took it so badly, though. There's so many difference of opinions out there. Well, how can he be Doctor Doom? It makes no sense. It does, but you have to go into the comic books to find out why. There's ways that does make sense. And if you read the latest Secret War books, you could kind of see where they're going with it. But yeah, I was just excited. That even more so, I think, than that, the Fantastic Four. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for they showed Galactus. It was amazing.
Yeah, I heard no clouds needed.
Peering through a window. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it was. I can't wait for that. So yeah, so we'll see if the diner comes back. I imagine it probably will. It seems like it's a cool thing. And again, if we get a free card every quarter, hey, why not? Why not? So there is the variant, by the way, in case you haven't seen it. Of course, it's Cassandra sitting on a throne. I just wanted to go over this real quick with you because obviously the next month's rolling around, but this next month coming up is Young Avengers. And this is already going to be out, of course, next week. And it is Hawkeye. This is Kate Bishop. She is the season pass. And then, of course, you've got all of her arrows that come with her. So are you excited about Young Avengers? And then, of course, Marvel Boy, which, by the way, looks completely broken or kind of broken.
Really good card.
It does if they keep it that way. But yeah, what do you think about Hawkeye? We'll start with Hawkeye first. What do you think about her as a season pass?
Yeah, I had a really slow day at work yesterday, and I'm anticipating Glazer someday asking me soon to rank the Young Avengers cards. So I was starting to think about them more. Kate, I think Kate's going to be really fun, but I'm not sure how good she's going to be. If we look at just the raw stats, if you play both of the arrows she gives you, she's a 4, 9.5. But the 9.5, but the arrows are doing some utility.
Right.
Downside, they're taking up 3 slots on your board, or 2 extra slots in your hand.
Yeah.
But there are decks that love that, right? Like a Devil Dino deck or a Loki deck loves that card generation. I think like the Acid Arrow is really good. Cheap Goblin.
Oh man, that's the best one, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. The Basic Arrow and the Pim Arrow are just like Hawkeye and Ant-Man, which are like, they're high power cards, but
Yep.
I was listening to the Snapchat yesterday, and Alex suggested, what if the arrows cost 0? And I'm like, I think that might actually be a cool way to make the Basic Arrow unique. Make
a 0/1.
Only make it a 0 card.
Yeah.
And maybe make it 0/1 + 2 or something, like make it weaker. But
good card in that ongoing deck that runs around every now and then with Spectrum and all that kind of stuff. You can add it right to that if you're playing something like that. But the Grapple Arrow is interesting.
The Grapple Arrow is super cool.
Yeah, that's kind of a neat one. Like, especially if you think someone's going to Shang one of your cards. If that comes out after you play the next card, move it to this location. So yeah, I mean it's
backwards Ghost Spider though.
It is kind
of like the next card you play gets pulled.
Yeah,
you might like that as a Galactus card.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm always
Dr.
thinking
Octopus and then pull him out of there.
Yes, yeah, that's it's a very cool idea actually. I'm sure I will try and utilize that any way I can. But yeah, no, I agree. It's going to be fun. The one that I think everybody wants is that Acid Arrow for sure, especially if you're playing Junk or if you're playing anything like that. You'd have her in there just for that hoping that you get it. But again, you're only going to get 2. So they are random that I would
50% chance of getting any one.
Yeah.
The Acid Arrow, teamed up with Titania or White Widow, it is just nasty.
It really is. Yeah. Again, White Widow down there already. They got the -4. You send that over, it's a -2. Titania goes in the lane. They're clogged. I mean, that's it. You won that lane. It's pretty much that simple. So yeah, she's gonna find her way into those clog decks, which they were pretty prevalent about maybe 2 weeks ago or so, but they've kind of come down a little bit since. So they're not as prevalent as they were, but I imagine that it's definitely going to get back to it when she comes out. So, but yeah, look, interesting card. It's the first kind of card we've seen since Nico that has all her different spells and stuff like that has different cards that they create. So seems like a fun season pass. But like I said, or like you said, I don't know that it's going to be. I don't know that you could say it's broken or anything like that. I don't think that that's the case. But I do think it's going to be a fun card.
I think very fun, but maybe like 3 to 4 stars in power.
Yeah, I would agree. Marvel Boy is a 3/2. After each turn, give your 1-cost cards +1. Oh my gosh, +1 power. I mean,
the original version was +2.
It was worse.
Okay, if you had Squirrel Girl out and you play Marvel Boy on 3. He's a 3/18.
Yeah, dude. This still seems insane to me. Like, if you're playing a zoo deck, oh my gosh, like it's an instant include, and like I don't know. Like this still seems broken. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see if it does come out this way. They did already adjust it, but I don't know. To me, this still seems cracked.
Yeah, the curve's a little weird, and of course you are playing 1 costs, so you have to have armor, Kyera, or just watch out for Killmonger.
Yeah, Killmonger
but
will come back quick.
If we're looking at raw power, this is a very strong card.
Yeah.
Also, just like obligatory is a friend of Valkyrie because she could set something to 3 and then he does the plus power afterwards.
He does.
So that's certainly on my mind. He's the one that I will be spending keys on for sure.
Yeah.
A couple others have been tempting.
Yeah. I only have the first 2, but obviously the others that are in the series are coming out soon. We'll go. Yeah, Lauren and I both do. Glazer has asked us to rate them, so you should check that out. He does an article every month on them, on all the cards, and has all the creators ask the creators and stuff to rate the cards. Which I'm sure that'll be coming in the next probably could even be today at some point that Glazer will send that out. So good stuff.
That's my favorite Snap Zone article every month.
Yeah. The card one? Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Same here. Let's see if I have anything else. I think that yeah, I think that might just about do it. So, yeah, lots of stuff, guys, going on in the game, and always great to have Lauren on. I've just looked at the clock. I'm like, oh, damn, we're heading on 2 hours. I don't want to keep you any longer than that. I'm like, man.
All right.
But, yeah, it's great to have you on. I love the explanation for the diner, and I was reading all that when you posted it on Twitter. And I'm sure that the people who have seen it there, and if not, and if you're one, like I said, if you're one of those people who are struggling, please make sure that you check out those slides. You can head over to our Twitter. It's at Lauren Whatevs on X, and check all those out there. Or like I said, you can jump over to the YouTube video that will be out for this, and you can check it out on YouTube and go by that. And hopefully you guys all will see success and you'll all get the card. Even if you don't get the variant, no big deal, because I'm sure, again, the variants of her will come. You will see other variants will be put in the shop and all that kind of stuff too, I'm sure, down the road. So, the variant's cool and all, but you don't get it. You don't get it. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, hopefully you will all have success with the diner and get the card. And then, of course, everything that came out today, the card changes that people will start to be experimenting with, Moon Knight and the other cards that were changed, and obviously the alliances and the leagues. There is a lot going on in Marvel Snap right now.
On top of all that, there's an OTA in 2 days.
Oh my gosh, geez, that's right. Yeah, what is today's Tuesday? Yeah, that's right. There is an OTA coming on Thursday as well. Oh my gosh, so much going on in the game. I hear Alex sometimes saying it is a great time to be a Marvel Snap player on his channel. It certainly is. It certainly is. It's certainly not boring. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in the game. So much fun. We've got a new season coming up. We read off the cards earlier, and the new cards that are going to be out in Halloween for October. That look, some of them look amazing. Some of them look broken. So yeah, man, it's a fun time to be a Snap player, and a lot of stuff going on. And so yeah. That is going to do it for us today. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on the program. I really, really appreciate that. Lauren is very busy with a lot of things that she does, and always great to have you on. And thank you so much for making all that stuff and helping people out with the diner. I'm sure everybody appreciates that.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love coming on. I'm sure I'll be on again.
You will absolutely be on again. I've said that before, and I say absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
Good luck to everybody chasing Cassandra. I hope you get her.
There you go. All right, guys. So that is going to do it for this episode of Snap Decisions. I hope you enjoy whatever you're doing this week in the game. I wish you luck in getting Cassandra. And don't forget, you can save up your keys and all that kind of stuff, unless you need any of those cards that are in the Spotlight caches that will be out at some point. 3 o'clock, just a couple hours later today. All righty, guys. I think that's going to oh, no. Actually, no. I was going to say that's going to do it for me this week. But no, I will have an OTA review on Thursday coming as well that I kind of forgot about. So, but other than that, that is going to do it for me for this video. If you watch on YouTube, again, like I always say, please go and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the like on the video, as it helps to fight that weird little algorithm that YouTube has. And if you're listening on audio, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of you for listening there. I know that that's where I get most of my listeners every week. And if you can, leave a comment now. Spotify allows you to leave comments on the podcasts. So please go over there and do that. I will always answer those. And also keep your eyes out. I will, depending on fan reactions, I will see what I'm going to do as far as the alliance goes. If there are enough people out there that look like they're interested, we can figure that out. I did run a little contest to see what a title would be like. A lot of people are saying Agatha stuff, which makes a lot of sense with me, with that goofy weekends with Agatha that I used to do. So we'll see. But anyway, enjoy your week. Enjoy Snap. Have a great day, everyone. Please be kind to one another always. And hopefully I will see you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ signing off.